Hey, hey, hey. See who doesn't miss me. See who missed me. Oh my god. So, my people, I'm very sorry. I told us I was not going to say this, that I was sorry again. I told us I was going to come, and this time I was going to come so quick and so. Okay. That's not what I mean. Hi, why are you thinking this way? Hey, get your mind together. Okay, so why am I being this way this day? It's because I miss you all so much, and I've seen the thousands of messages like, "Where's the episode? What's going on?" Well, that is what happened when you juggle a whole lot of things all together. But again, if you want to do it effectively, you can still do it. But at this point, I must confess that, hey, it's draining. No one told me this is what it looks like out there. What? Okay. Yeah, let me sip a cup of coffee. Slopping. So nice. Now, this is not a paid advert, or this is not a call for you to go try your first cup of coffee. But hey, I have been thinking a lot about coffee. So I went out with a friend, an old time friend, and I mean he's been away for a while, and then he came around and like, oh, grab a cup of coffee. Not literally that cup of coffee that hey, let's grab a cup of coffee and people run around. No, it was that cup of coffee that was cup of coffee. And I got there. You know all these things that they just come up with all sort of name. What kind of coffee do you want? I said, just give me a cup of latte. And the lady looked at me. I said, any coffee. I don't know what you're talking about. Just give me any coffee. And she was like, hold on a minute. So she went. My friend looked at me and I'm like, please don't disappoint me. Don't make me look like I brought one bush boy to this very lush place. You know what I mean? But hey, I just looked at it. I'm like, I know what I want, and I know that is not black coffee, but you know it has this thing that has love shape at top of the cup. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah, I know it has that thing, and I also know that it's the first part you're sipping is a bit of what do you call it? Is a bit of foam. It's foamy, kind of. You know what? You guys know what I mean now. Why are you looking at me like you don't know what I mean? And then the lady looked at me. I'm like, okay. And then she walked in. Walked in. Minute later, she came with something, an espresso. I don't know what it looks like. So, and I said, but I want a latte. And then she went on, what kind of latte do you want? Do you want a mocha? Do you want a caramel? Do you want hazelnut? Do you want cinnamon? Do you want pumpkin? Do you want peppermint mocha? Do you want gingerbread latte? Do you want salted caramel latte? Lavender latte? Maple latte? Chai latte? I paused. I'm like, I remember chai tea. Why are you giving me all this? And then I'm like, calm down. And say, oh, hot latte, iced latte, what a frappuccino latte. Wait a minute. Are we still talking about coffee here? And that struck me. I said any latte. Of course, any latte. And then she came with a latte macchiato. The espresso is how that is being made. So of course, I like asking questions. Anybody that knows me, please, if you want to take me out, be warned, because I ask a lot of questions and I like to know processes and I get involved so well in things. So she now said, it's made, while the espresso or the latte is being poured into the espresso machine or is being poured, at the same time the milk is also being poured. So the macchiato is steamed milk marked macchiato. What it means steamed. So that's milk stained or marked with espresso, which is poured into milk after creating distinct layers. It tends to be milkier than your normal classic latte. I'm like, fair enough. Fair enough. I like this. That began my journey of coffee. But of course, I'm not getting caffeinated, but there's something I want us to learn from this. Hey, have we greeted this morning? All right. So matters. So matters. I miss you all. We all yearn for a pure soul somewhere and somehow in the depth of our thoughts, in the quiet moments of our life. Is it not the reason why such a soul is such a handy phrase? What's the soul? Why the soul? How do we feed it? How do we nurture it? Find out on Soul Matter with Ambrose. So good morning and welcome. Or good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, good pre-evening, wherever you are. Today on Soul Matters, we'll be talking about caffeinated hearts. Oh, I told you guys that June is kind of a lovey-dovey month for me. So it gives me this lovey-dovey feeling. So please excuse me if I'm going to pour the rest of June talking about matters of the heart. Maybe not likely, a bit of change. But hey, you're going to get a here and there kind of conversation about caffeinated hearts or the soul, whatever applies. But hey, let's delve into today's topic matter. First, it's fascinating to know that coffee came from Africa, Ethiopia to be precise, and the history was quite predated to the 9th century. Likely it didn't spread quick. It remained an Ethiopian best kept secret. And it was when a goat herder named Chaldee was on the mountain with his goats, and he noticed that the goats started eating this leaf and beans and berries from a particular tree, and all of a sudden the goats get extra energetic. And he was like, why are these goats becoming invigorating like this? And he said, okay, herders, what they do. So he said he tried the berry himself, and all of a sudden the invigorative effects became prominent. And of course, how spiritual they were then. So he took it to a monk, and he told the monk, he said, look at what I found. Initially, do you know what the monk said? The monk said, this is the devil's work. You should not try it. Throw them into fire. However, when the monk threw it into fire, guess what? Enticing aroma from roasting the beans. And it was so nice smelling. And then they rake it out of the fire, crush them, and dissolve them in hot water. When they tried the resulting beverage, they were awake all night for their devotions. So that aroma was discovered. And the monk were the people of Oromo Gala. People of Ethiopia also believe they use coffee for energy. Now, in the 15th century, it began to spread from Ethiopia. It made its way first to the Middle East. It made its way to Yemen. And there, of course, experimentation began, and the popularity started spreading to Iran, Egypt, Turkey. I heard the best coffees are in Turkey. Someone said that. I wish to try it someday. And, the instinct of coffee itself, what the Middle Eastern were doing, is just something. They said it helps to concentrate in prayer. And that was the initial intention of the monks too. So that's religious, that religious proclivities was attached to it. Like, oh, if you take this, you won't be able. For you guy, you like sleeping in church. every day. Just take a cup of coffee. I'm not getting you addicted to caffeinated, but hey, that was the original intent, yeah. So, I mean, then coffee houses started rising within the 15th century as well. Is what they call the Quave Khanis. I think in the Mecca, Saudi Arabia, begin to become more prominent, and in the Constantinople of Istanbul, it became also very prominent in the 16th century, and of course, the rest of the world get to taste it in the 17th and 18th century. The Americas came a bit late to the game within the 18th century. And that's the 1723 precisely. And a single plant in America then is believed to be the ancestor of much of the coffee that grown in the Caribbean and South and Central America, especially in Brazil. And from there, it became a global house of coffee around America and the rest of the world. But hey, from its mythical origin in Ethiopia to the statues the world has made it become today, and then the coffee's journey. Don't lose me, stay here. This is not about coffee. I tagged it caffeinated hat for a reason. But I want us to do something. While we've understood the origin and the beginning of where coffee came from, or where it came from, now let's talk about something. Have you ever noticed how, if you don't take coffee, it's okay, but just think about your regular beverage or something and tag it as coffee, then you can follow us on this journey. But for the coffee lovers, I see you. You're going to make another cup of coffee. Don't. One is okay while we stay on this podcast. Okay, but have you ever noticed how coffee tastes entirely different depending on where you drink it? Maybe, your morning cup sip in your cozy living room feels rich and satisfying. But that same coffee on the go seems like a lackluster. Or perhaps you've tried coffee abroad, fully expecting it to taste like home, and you just find it to be quite not the same. Why? Somehow we attribute this to the brewing method, the beans quality, or what type of every water kind, or the type of water they use and the role it plays in it. The more fascinating thing in play is psychology. Your brain, your senses, your surrounding, they also influence your perception of flavor. Yes, thanks to me, now. Then you might think a lot. So here's a deep brew, pun intended, into the psychology that shapes your coffee experience. And everything that you say, is better at home, is because of the perception of your psychology. This determines your taste bud. Flavor is actually a multisensory experience shaped by size, smell, touch, or even hearing. This is what they call the multimodal integration, where your brain processes all these inputs together to create a singular perception of taste. When it comes to coffee, your perception of its quality and flavor is influenced more than just what's in the cup. It is what plays in your head. A calm, familiar environment can brighten coffee's flavor and make them seem more enjoyable. So I'll just delve into a little bit of what made coffee taste different or better. First is comfort and familiarity. It creates a lot of bias. Your brain feels safest in the familiar places, and this sense of comfort directly influences how you perceive taste and scent. The emotional connection can even be an average coffee will taste extraordinary because of the familiarity. Sometimes your brewing preference are dialed in, like what you like. Even, fun fact, even using your favorite mug can make the coffee taste different. I have one particular cup I use. I don't change it and I don't give it to anybody. So, scent memory enhances your drink. What you smell in a particular point of time, and then your morning mind frames that same experience. So, why does it taste different when you're elsewhere? Unfamiliar water and brewing technique, your environmental stress, and then the last one, the psychology of disappointment. If you expect a coffee to taste great at home and it doesn't, the disappointment creates some kind of bias in your brain. Fascinatingly, the reverse is true when you're visiting a beautiful cafe on a vacation where the environment feels inspiring. Your coffee might taste amazingly simple because of how happy and awestruck you are. I remember. So I give us a story. I told us at the beginning that this is not about coffee. And I wonder why you still stayed up to here. So if you stayed up to here, now you're going to get the real gist. I try to distract them, let them go. We're focusing not on coffee. No, it's not what you're thinking. So there's this talk about taste of perception. So I've had this love for the southern soup, Edikaiko, and then I've tried a couple. It never gets to hit because it was prepared by probably someone I don't know, in a public space. And this is not me putting on my friends who say food critic hat. I'm not doing that right now, but I'm just trying to compare something. So, and then a friend had made some and sent it across. So I know the person that made it, not so with a sense of this is coming from a homely environment. It tasted different. To be honest, please, my personal trainer, gym instructor, don't listen to this. I was eating eba by 12 midnight. You know why? Because the soup tasted so good. So the psychology of perception and then the caffeinated heart. Now to the main story. Dun, 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 dun. Ladies and gentlemen, bringing you to the main story. Caffeinated heart. Have you been obsessively in love with someone? And every single thing they do affects you. Have you been truly in love with someone that even when they breathe, you feel a lot from their breath? Being in their presence changes the whole game for you. Have you been in love? Have you touched someone and something in you is brought back to life? I mean, I know the world has hardened you up, but have you truly been in love? Have you been in love not because you want to get married or not to want to raise kids? In as much as that brew come, like your coffee, the brew tastes better with time. Have you truly given your heart out in love, essentially to get lost and just drown in it? Aha, if you have, come, let's share experience. So, this is the first story of my heart being caffeinated. So this girl, I met her, just walking. Of course, those close to me understand my journey and story. So I had already sold out. In short, my mom had made me sold out too. I was going to become a Catholic priest, which I would have loved to be, by the way. I would have been a good one, a missionary maybe. But as that dream was brewing, something strange happened. So anytime this girl passes, it changes the course of my life. And I could look at her for hours until she vanishes into the thin air. And she usually comes to see her auntie around. They lived right opposite us. So the auntie is a friend of my dad's. And I would always pray that each time she comes to her auntie's place, the auntie should come to my dad. So usually bring um, local brewed drinks for my dad. We're talking brewing coffee. See, I'm talking coffee language now. So anytime she comes around, I'll just be praying she come, and then I'll just say, Lord, please let her come. So and if she start coming, I'll be sitting at the balcony. I'll quietly walk inside, hid, and then I'll be looking from the window. She she was as then the most gorgeous girl. And I'm not going to call names. Oh, of course I'll call name. So here, wherever you are, God bless you there. So I'll be peeping, and my heart goes on double beats. And I'm like, "Ah, why? It's unexplainable." So I opened up to my cousin, which he knows I was a very shy person. And I said, put down your thoughts. I said, how? He said, exactly what you're feeling, write it without stopping until the pen says stop, then stop. And I sat down. I don't know, I can't remember how many pages it were, and I don't know how she had the patience to read them, but I sent it out. And waiting for the reply was a killer. She never came again for 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And then for you guys that can't even thoroughly be in love these days, what is going on? So I heard things about the dating pool, and I'm like, whoa. I don't understand. And I don't want to bear the title of a lover boy, but that was then, yes. But now I think it's still necessary for your soul to be intact. I know you've been heartbroken, We'll get to that. So I 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month passed, and I didn't see her again. So this particular day, I was coming back from choir practice, and by the way, here I am. I know I was a chorister. I can sing for somebody, right? Being in love can make your heart. No, that's not me. Anyway, so back to the story. Months passed. I think the second month, and I was coming back. I saw her in her usual fine dress. Everything she wears was fine. So I can't even remember what it was, but it was floral skirts. Thereabout, yes, floral skirt with dotted lines, and then a white plain shirt. So I'm like, hey, you didn't reply me. There was this confidence that came, and then she said, oh, I'm so sorry. What are you asking? I'm like, what? For everything I've sent, you're asking me what am I asking? Okay, I'm asking for us to be friends. And she said, yeah, we're already friends. I'm like, we are? I said, yeah, we've been friends. I said, okay, maybe a little bit of exclusivity on that friendship. She said, okay, I think I am already with you. And I said, okay, but you didn't respond to my message. Not that way. And then she said, we are. Let's kick it off. It started a beautiful journey. I mean, 10 years down the line, she said our goals are no longer aligned. She wants bigger things, and we're divergent, distance and dreams. And I was broken. My heart went all wrong. It went all ballistic. But hey, the bottom line, telling you this story is that your heart is caffeinated. While both being in love and caffeination can lead to heightened states of arousal and pleasure, the underlying psychology, and the neurochemical mechanism are fundamentally different. This is not a comparison of something that has a middle point. It is a comparison of something that is extensively divergent, right? And this is it. Being in love Love is a complex human experience, involving the constellations of emotion, motivations, and behaviors, and psychologically, how you deeply drive within your evolutionary route, yourself came out, and the crucial crucibles that can be used for bonding is somewhat geared towards reproduction and social cohesion. You know how you love somebody too much and your body burns and then you want to melt into them and all that? Yes, that's a different psychology from coffee. But sometimes our hearts get caffeinated. You know that euphoria and giddiness that comes, intense happiness of excitement and sense of I'm walking on sunshine. Woohoo. An obsessive focus, right? A tendency to just be lost in thinking about the loved one. You idealize them, you desire them, you constantly want that closeness, and then emotional dependence, that reliance on for your partner for everything, motivation and reward, attachment and bonding, reduce stress. Let's not talk about that. Being around someone you love just reduce the whole stress in your body and potential sometimes for negative emotions. You know, there are neurochemistry of love that we have heard in a couple of times, the dopamine, oxytocin, and the vasopressin. It's this hormone that is involved in pair bonding and attachment and, in long-term relationship. Even there is one, I try to pronounce it. So sometimes I call it the noradrenaline or the norepinephrine or something, whatever they call it. It's a flight and you use it for flight and flight and increase your heart rate and excitement. The serotonin, all those, it decreases when you're fully in love. All those things are, even your brain region activation is also high when you're in love. All these things found in love, and we have caffeinated hearts. I think I have to break this episode because it's quite a long one. Okay, if you made it so far, welcome to the second part of Caffeinated Heart. So I really want us to delve into this topic, so I just don't break it for us. Talking about the same psychology of brain. Of course, we ended with your brain region activation that happens when you're in love, and the same thing. Caffeine has this psychoactive stimulant that is present and gets into your nervous system. You have elevated mood, improved concentration and focus, but sometimes it makes me sleep. After taking a very strong coffee like this, I just want to sleep. But yeah, we're different. Anxiety and jitter, reduction, reduced perception of fatigue, dependency, all these things. The same neurochemistry that love has, some of them are found in caffeine as well. Dopamine release sometimes is indirect because what caffeine does to you, just block the adenosine in your body and it can release a lot of dopamine. And there are similarities: deep emotion, profound, life altering and long lasting. There's a lot of emotional depth, complexity, including your vulnerability when you're in love. But why are we talking about caffeinated heart? It is because I see that, for me, basic observation, I see a lot of internet love, relationship being truly blossoming, and people talking about how fantastic they found love and how well it's working for them. But some were not lucky for that. And I'm just talking to the few who are not lucky yet, or who aren't perfectly lucky yet. I want you to understand that it is okay and it will be fine. And you find your person. If you truly are looking, become everything that brings this. Become someone who can make any anybody focus on you and give you intense, when I mean intense, give you intense focus, that somebody can give you just intense attention. Let me put it that way. Someone who can heighten some dopamine level in the next person. And how do you become this? It is by being your authentic self around the people you love. So there's this friend I have observed over a long period of time. One thing that has kept her absolutely different from every other person is the fact that she became super authentic, being herself unapologetically. And I begin to notice that the level of attractiveness just go way off the roof, because there's a lot of authenticity. There's no vagueness in the person she expresses, or there's no vagueness in the trueness in her nature. And this is where you come from. And first, what do you really want to find? You just want someone who takes up your bills, or you just want someone, a true love? So if you want true love, then continue listening. And well, I mean, while the butterflies and intense passion of new love are exhilarating, true love is often described way deeper than that. It's from mutual respect and trust. You value each other's individuality, opinions, and feeling. And honesty is the foundation for that. You have deep connection and intimacy. It goes beyond superficial interaction. It is sharing your deepest thoughts, vulnerabilities, dreams, and feeling truly understood and seen. Unconditional support. If you're going to support that young lady you say you're in love with and you have conditions attached, I think no. And celebrating success and offering unwavering support during challenges without conditions and reservation. Empathy, the ability to just understand them and putting yourself in their shoes when things happen. Commitment. This is where we cannot do it. A conscious and consistent effort of choice to invest in the relationship through difficulties together. You prioritize that partnership well. And acceptability, of course. Accept your love. If you were looking for a fair and you saw a black and you're already in love, then stick there, be committed. Sometimes the heart veers, but it's appreciating that authenticity of who the person is that really, and most importantly, if you have shared values and goals that align with this, it comes. And the joy and contentment. I am content no matter what I see. Finding genuine happiness in each other's company, even in the quiet moments where words no longer flow through you, and your path to true love, my dear, if you have listened this far, it means you're interested, and it means you want to find it, and it means you're gonna find it. And June is that month you're gonna find it. Focus on yourself first. Accept who you are. Be comfortable in your skin. When you know your values and desire, take time to reflect on what really matters to you in life. What are not your non-negotiables? I say everybody should have a non-negotiable. What kind of connection are you seeking? Sometimes we don't have the patience for this. We're running, we're hustling, we're doing. Clarity helps you identify your compatibility. Most importantly, past baggages. We all do have them. Address them. Consider therapy and self-reflection. Those processes, I can tell you from experience, it helps. So clear it. Be open and authentic. I've said that a long lot of time. And communicate honestly. Just there's nothing you're putting. So I noticed something. While you're still young, there's tendency for you not to come up open unapologetically and not be scared. But when you grow, I think from 30, from what I've been observing, You begin to say things and you don't really feel the need to hide under anything. You embrace vulnerability rather. Be willing to share your true self, your imperfections, your fear, you know. And oh, how to look. You are not going to ask me that. You are sitting on that couch. You're not the furniture. And yes, I'm talking to you, Fatima. Look at me. You cannot furniture. Go out, widen your circle, especially your social circle. Sometimes it does work, sometimes it doesn't. But I mean, don't over idealize anything. Be open to people. You have too many checklists. Focus on how people make you feel and the quality of connection you get from the people rather than those your superficial traits. Please. No, and that was not to Fatima, it's to everyone. Patience and realistic expectations. Be realistic in your expectations, right? The modules you're putting. I like this thing when they say perception versus reality. So let your reality also reflect a little bit of what is on ground, right? Look for absolute partnership, connection, not just romance. Romance fades after a while. And I hope your heart is finding its path. I hope your mind is focused on the journey. And most importantly, I am saying this because I know your soul. For it to thrive, you need love. And that's why I'm here. So this month of June, I don't know, people say February, mine is June. So I'm going to spread love. I'm going to help you as much as you can. You know where to find me. All you texters, you know where to find me. And we can talk, deeply connect with whatever you do. It's just like eating your food. It's a bit spiritual. More like having conversation, real conversation as well. It's the intensity of what you put into it that gives you the results back. That 20% focus while someone else is talking and not being distracted by your phone is a little effort you put to it. When you're on that video call, there's the dopamine call to scroll and be on Instagram, but you really want to look into her eyes or his eyes and just look for that deep connection. And with your caffeinated heart, and as my cup of coffee just finished, so this thought comes to a close. But the door and the window for essential conversations after this is still open, and we'll explore more. But above all, I want you to close your eyes and start within yourself. Feel your left side. Is there any pain? Take a deep breath. Out. What do you feel? What's your body telling you? Look in the mirror. Look in your eyes and tell yourself, I love you. Have a wonderful one.